Are you guys going up there or how? I don't know.
Just up
Okay, here we
ahead.
go. We are live right now. Okay, hope everyone's having a good Friday. Let me just post this here. Okay.
Right on the corner.
Hold on, Chaz and Melon, wait for me.
Okay, put it at.
Oh, I forgot
Okay, and I
to
put that
plug in
on
my headset.
on Twitter. There we go. Okay. Okay, hello. How's everyone doing? Okay, hope everyone's having a great day. Hey guys.
I still have room. I need to buy more. Great. Let's go down here.
Hello, Mr. Waifu, Eric, Daniel, Joey, Justin, a Super Mario.
Great. Whoa.
My day's good, Drifter. Controller is good. I'm, playing with it right now. Okay.
Calm down there, buddy.
Okay, start up a bounty here. I'm doing good, Mole. How are you, man?
4 gold?
Okay, this bounty should start any moment now. I don't think I really had a favorite band.
What just happened?
Bounty starting.
Oh.
I thought something was wrong about TV.
I thought I was about to disconnect for a second there.
Okay, hopefully it works now. Controllers, fine for the most part.
Aaron Clark and Oliver Lime.
Furwood Rise, okay, shouldn't be too far. Whoa.
God. You good?
Hey, Emily. Hope everyone is having a great Friday.
You don't belong there. Ow. Hey, be off with you. Why don't you just leave? I'll make you suffer.
Have you heard of Hitman's new freelancer mode? Hey, Axel, I have. I haven't gotten the chance to use it or play it, but I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Pro, I can send you a few screenshots I took in freelance mode that'll probably help you out a lot. If you ever decide to do it.
Are you guys using auto aim, by the way?
I have no idea.
Oh, what was that?
Are you guys
He
using
asked
auto
if we're
aim?
using auto aim.
Auto aim?
Yeah,
I
I'm
do
just
have
going
auto
with
aim.
first person, free aim.
Who was the target reared by its custom? Just chuck dynamite everywhere and he'll show up.
Yes, the lore video is coming out tomorrow, Mole. Yeah, if you guys could switch to free aim, please. Whoever's using auto aim too, because then it makes the people who are using free aim really hard to kill anybody.
I got the first guy. Here, friend. Lasso him.
You know what I never understood? The NPCs in this game just ride around on horses and shoot at you. Like, every time you try to hit them, they move, like, back and forth. And then when you actually do hit them, they're, like, very surprised you hit their horse. Like, they don't expect you to shoot their horse.
I got the first guy. Here, friend.
Chance have the other.
How long will the lore video be? Probably over an hour.
Honestly, Trevor would have done Michael a favor just by shooting him right there. Guy's so miserable.
Well, I'm going to
he
be
probably doesn't
explaining some
deserve to
things
be
about
around.
Brad that a lot of people actually don't know about. Thank you, Feline King. I hope Rockstar doesn't wait till October or November for a trailer of GTA 6. That's usually when they drop trailers, yeah. Well, I think it'll probably
Wishful
be announced
thinking.
this year, but, well, technically it's already been announced. I mean, the reveal trailer. But, yeah. I think we're going to have to wait a bit of time for it, though.
It's wishful thinking if we get one this year.
Well, I still have to make some, you know, final edits to the lore video, Justin. But it's going to be good.
I kind of hate how they just won't announce it and stuff because, you know, there's obviously probably people who have probably been waiting for GTA 6 and there's people who probably have passed away and they're not able to live to see the GTA 6 reveal.
Hey Pat, hope you had a good Friday. If you do a Last of Us playthrough, is it going to be a cosplay if you get the right outfits? Also, if you like brutality, you should watch the CW Arrow. It's a god
That
tier.
show's really
Thank
good
you,
from what I heard.
Binded Eagle. I think I've heard of the Arrow before, but I've never seen it.
They have been on Netflix right now. They also have CW's The Flash. A friend of mine got me into that. That show's also really good.
Yo, thank you, Arrow. Thank you, Jonathan. What can you say is the best playthrough you made? My best playthrough? I would probably say my Ace Attorney playthrough, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. That's probably my best one. A lot of thinking on those, and it was 40 parts.
Damn it all!
40 parts. Jesus.
Yeah, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles with 40 parts when I did it.
You have to beat it.
I never got into those games.
Once at 4 minutes, I guess deliver the target. Trio, you need help selling your moonshine, right?
Yeah, he said he needed help with it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what,
the
wait
War
till 4
Game from
minutes and turn it in, or
2003
wait till
Pro,
1?
great game explaining how history is. Love that. And I recently watched your video explaining about the Pinkertons back in the 1800s. Great storytelling. Thank you, Mole. And when GTA 6 comes out, you should live stream the story mode the day it comes out so we can discuss it together. Can we do that? Well, thank you, Feline King. I'll probably have a playthrough. I probably won't be live streaming the story. I'll probably have playthrough parts of the GTA 6 story when it releases.
Wait till 4 minutes and bring it in, or wait till
Yeah,
later
till
on?
4 minutes.
Okay.
Business calculus is not easy to understand. Yeah, and I never liked math too much. I really like your unboxing video. Thank you, man. Business calculus is not easy to understand. Yeah, I never liked math. I never really was a fan of it. You'd think I would be a fan of math because of like my calculations on like money guides, stuff like that, but no.
Pro, would you ever consider doing a playthrough of Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Yes, well, I already did Ghost Recon Wildlands, but that was like in 2019. I did do a playthrough of it.
You could probably make a lot of cosplay with that game, because all the cosmetics you could have. I'll have to look into that, though. The
Hey,
rumor is the
Professional,
next
today
Ghost
I saw your
Recon is-
comment on a Master Chief video that you made about a year ago. You criticized Joe for being a jerk, LOL. What video specifically? Thank you, Side. Thank you for the super chat.
Who's shooting?
Well, I don't know. What is that NPC doing? Okay. That's like, it reminds me of that video that, that one guy did with the making fun of the
There's more
witnesses,
of
where they
them.
just start shooting at you for no reason, and then you defend yourself, and it's... Thank you, Aussie guy. Thank you for sponsoring my channel again. Thanks, man.
I think the entire town wants us dead.
I love how much effort you put into your money, guys. Very helpful. Thank you, Drifter Kids.
Now my guns are glitched, so I have to take up a corpse. I just see Trio in here when I'm delivering the target.
Good business. Damn good business.
Oh, it was Master Chef, not Master Chief. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Joe on Master Chef. Yes, I did make a comment a long time ago criticizing him. Will there be a lore video on Catalina? Thank you, Lonely Mobster. Not specifically on Catalina, but more on Claude, and Catalina is gonna be a huge part of that lore video.
What's going on?
If I could get out of this stupid screen.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, stuck
There we
right,
go.
there we go.
Okay, let's. I'm gonna disband the
Posse.
posse. Can't leave while content is active. What?
The stupid mission probably isn't all the way done then. I don't know.
How are you doing today, Pro? I'm doing good, Legacy. How are you, man?
Game's being a bit ridiculous. And that's why there's a stupid witness.
Kill him.
I kill him, I have
I
like
can't stand
10,
down
20
still here.
people. I have 10 or
Where are
20
you?
people that are gonna try and kill me.
Tomorrow, the Trevor, Brad, and Michael lore video will be out. Tomorrow.
Pro, what time are you gonna be on if you want to play Hella Loose tomorrow?
Late afternoon, probably.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Why is it not letting you stand down? Or what's going on with me?
Stupid witnesses and those people we killed in the town.
Oh.
I still can't stand down, so what's going on?
It's these stupid witnesses. They're finding all these corpses everywhere.
Oh, get away from them then.
And now I've been witnessed for murder.
Get away from them if you got the one level then.
Funny enough, funny it's not happening to me here, but
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Tarion. I'm eventually gonna get to it. Thank you, Eric, for sponsoring the channel. Do you have tips and tricks to have less stress and rage issues? Well, for like, you know, I wouldn't try to avoid raging on games because it's not gonna help you. It's like, you know, what's really the point? Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave the session and rejoin.
Or just get out of
Okay.
Valentine.
One thing about the raging thing, everyone's different.
Yep.
What do you call it? Yeah, it's you can tell someone it's just a game. Don't
Yes,
worry about
DL
it.
Gaming.
It
Thank
doesn't help them. It really doesn't.
Yeah,
what
you know,
helped
getting
me-
mad doesn't really help. Yeah.
What helped me was I just stopped playing those type of games that would make
Yep.
you mad.
Yeah.
Competitive games, I used to play battle royales. I used to be like I used to play Siege. I had to just stop
Oh, the description.
for my own mental health.
I stopped playing Battlefield
Oh.
because it's just too much. I need a PvE game right now.
yeah, I can also say the same like with Chaz. I stopped playing Siege for a while, at least for a while before I.
Siege was so toxic, I couldn't play it anymore.
It is. It really is.
For me, I told myself if I'm gonna play Siege again, I'm gonna play it for fun, not for. I'm not even gonna play the ranked like game mode. I'll only play the quick play or casual, as it was called.
They had a team
Play
deathmatch
something
as a
that-
permanent mode now.
They have a team deathmatch now.
Yeah, it's permanent. It's no longer going away.
That's been
Sebi!
long enough.
Can you guys invite me to
Yeah.
this session, please?
Yep,
Yeah,
on it right now.
G'day, guys.
Pro. Sebi!
Hey,
As,
I sent an invite.
yes.
Your description is the saboteur. You know.
I know. I just fixed it.
Oh, okay.
As much as you hate raids on businesses online, do you think it's even a little bit realistic because police can't sometimes find out about operations from drug lords? Also, what's your take on the state of the judicial system?
Guys, let's take the train.
I'll say that about the raids. Yes, the police, like, you know, I guess could find them out, but the thing is, though, it's like, how come, like, security, for instance, if you pay for security in GT Online, you shouldn't be getting raided, and
No, it's my
I guess, you know, I guess we look at it from the video game's perspective, but if you
Sorry,
pay
old
on
man,
raid,
it's fine now.
if you pay for security, you shouldn't be getting raided. It just shouldn't happen.
I'll put him on the train.
it could do what Payday did with the safe house raids.
Put 'em
You
on the
can
train.
choose to let your crew deal with it, and you don't have to do the mission.
if you choose to do the mission, you got a little bonus out of it. But it was just optional.
Could you guys invite me to the session?
I sent you an invite. I don't know if it went through.
Okay, running back now here. Thank you, Binded Eagle.
He's not staying on the train. He's dead then.
I also sent an invite, Pep.
Yes, I played Call of Duty 4 since 2007. Diet. Thank you.
Such a good game.
Probably should have not killed him, but put his body on the train regardless.
He's not going on the train, even outside.
And about the
no, go through the back, one of the back.
About the judicial system, you know, Binded Eagle, I don't really want to.
Like stairs.
I don't really want to get into that because there'd be a bunch of different people would have a bunch of different viewpoints on that. I usually try to keep arguments out of this.
Even further.
The train's moving.
I know. All right.
I'm not seeing any stairs.
Any?
Nope. There's no stairs.
Hold on. Pretty sure there were stairs.
Not in this one.
Weird. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, I remember the good old days finishing, 8th grade, and then going home and then playing like Call of Duty 4.
Oh yeah, there are no stairs on this one.
Yep. Now let's get out of here before the cops show up.
I have an idea. Let's put it on this wagon. Can we stow him in a wagon?
Not that I know of.
Oh, no, definitely not this one.
Damn, how are these guys still going? What the?
Yeah, screw it. Just leave him by this wagon. Go.
Fool's gold in 26 minutes.
Do the choo-choo.
Yeah, I think the enemies here I think are glitched for me. You guys can still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah, these guys, you guys see this right now? Yeah.
Now I'm in a train with Yusuf. I'm trying to get away from the law.
Do the choo-choo.
Double back.
That's more like it.
Yeah, this is glitched. Ooh.
I'm half covered in blood. That one dead
The
guy.
game's very glitchy today for some reason.
This game is starting to become a buggy mess now.
Yeah, but don't expect
That's 'cause
Rockstar to
Rockstar's
fix it.
Gonna shut down the servers.
Nah, that's
Just
not
like
gonna
Marvel's
happen.
Avengers.
Rockstar won't shut down the servers on this game. They're just not gonna make content for it, but they won't shut down the servers for it.
Just like Marvel's Avengers. They're not getting any support no more. Because the company that bought Square Enix isn't giving them any money for the game to make it better.
That game was crap from the very beginning, though.
I loved it.
I'm gonna have to restart my game again because now I can't get out of this free mode mission.
I literally, I pre-ordered that game and everything. I was really excited for it. And
No, you're not, Mr. Waifu. What's wrong?
Melon, where'd you go?
Helping out a dude.
Would I ever do a series on the Uncharted games? Possibly one day. I haven't played them, so that could be a series that we could do.
It's a really cool series.
Is it
Yeah.
worth it, would you say?
It's, think of, treasure hunting stuff.
Oh, PlayStation Home, I remember
hunting
that, and I
adventures.
remember the pool, I remember the bowling also. Yeah, I remember that.
What's happening over here?
Bunch of
No, you're
scumbags,
not,
that's
Mr.
what's
Waifu.
happening.
Yeah, I remember the nostalgia
I took a
PlayStation
shot
Home.
in the face.
You could go into PlayStation Home,
Put
hang
down
out.
his horse.
There were sometimes some really weird people that would play PlayStation Home, though.
This guy lost his face.
Defend the campsite.
Oh, look at him. Oh, come on.
They're gonna kill me.
Hey, Pro, my sister started working retail, and like you did, and she comes home with the dumbest customer stories. Yeah, even if you have great management, even if you have a great manager and
Melon,
supervisor,
over here.
you're eventually going to
Yeah.
encounter stupid and annoying customers. And they can take a
I
toll
know,
on you.
I encountered them. I actually work in retail, apparently.
Encounter any insane customers lately?
One day I was talking with my job coach, and a customer kept trying to annoy me. She was being a bit of a, excuse my language, a bit of a bitch about it. And I finally got around to helping her, and then it was all good. But
Well,
no,
the last month that I was actually working in retail, like I was about to quit, and like if customers gave me
Yeah,
attitude, I would just say to them like, you know, sir, I'm trying to help you. If you keep being rude to me, I'm just not going to help you. And if they kept being rude to me, I would just walk away. I didn't care if they complained to the manager.
yeah.
Send me an invite to the session.
On it.
Hold on.
Invite sent.
Thankfully, my last 2 weeks was smooth sailing, and on my last day, I brought everyone pizza.
Yeah, I bought everyone McDonald's on my last day. You know, you want to leave off on good terms at least with everyone.
Yeah. Where I work is actually right across from this badass pizza place called Blaze Pizza. Think of Subway, but pizza.
What do you think Rockstar could do to make GTA Plus worth it, and how much GTA money do you think we should get based on what you pay for shark cards? Also, what's your take on the Alec Baldwin situation, if you've heard? Thank you, Binded Eagle. I can answer most of your questions there. GTA Plus, I simply don't think should exist. I don't think there's really any reason for it. But if it does exist, it shouldn't give you like, you know, it shouldn't give you stuff that's going to be exclusive to just GTA Plus. You know, there shouldn't be things that are going to be locked behind it. But I don't think there's really a need necessary for it. As for shark cards, I think they should be at least doubled in price. Like it's $100 for $8 million, which I don't think is worth it at all. Now the Alec Baldwin situation, about that I can talk a bit more about it. Is what I'll say about the Alec Baldwin situation is, I frankly speaking, I don't understand why so many people are like surprised that he's charged. Like there were so many people that were surprised that he was charged. They're like, they were saying that he's innocent. You know, our trial, you know, it's innocent until proven guilty. But if you want, you know, my opinion on it, do I think he should be charged? Yes, I do. You know, I think the charge is right. Involuntary manslaughter, I think it is right. Now, the thing is, though, is a lot of the people I've noticed, most of the people that are defending Alec Baldwin, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand how law works, and they're making some really dumb, you know, arguments. Like there was, you know, there's a bunch of comments that I was saying where people saying you can't charge him with murder, but he's not being charged with murder. He's being charged with involuntary manslaughter, and people don't seem to understand the difference between that. But basically, murder or homicide, that is the most serious charge. And murder and homicide is basically when you plan to kill somebody and you kill them. Manslaughter is when you kill somebody but you didn't mean to it. You didn't plan on doing it. You didn't want to do it. But it was well, there's two forms of manslaughter. There's involuntary manslaughter, and then there's the other form of it. But there's one that's more serious. But basically, the charge that he got, involuntary manslaughter, the charge he's being charged with is he killed somebody, but he didn't mean it. That's technically what the charge is. However, though, he's still at fault. He's still guilty of neglect. And that's precisely what the charge is. So I don't think that, you know, the people that are defending Baldwin, I don't think they understand the case fully. I don't think they understand what happened. And also, it's not just about Baldwin, just, you know, it's a horrible tragedy what happened. But it's not just about that. It's Baldwin was responsible for hiring the armorer. That's what nobody is talking about. People are saying, oh, Baldwin didn't know what the firearm.
Can I invite the posse?
But you would have to ask Trio. We're in his posse right now.
Trio, it's not like we go to
but-
your Moonshine Shack.
Baldwin was
I did
responsible.
invite you.
Oh, you started the sale already. Baldwin was responsible for hiring the armorer in that case. He was responsible for that. So he hired the
Maybe my
armorer.
posses were full. Try now.
That armorer did have a bad
I'm just gonna
record.
block screen it.
The armorer did have a bad record. So we know that. So what I'll tell you is, if you hire somebody that's bad at their job and they do something bad and they didn't meet their qualifications, you can be held liable for that. So, you know, the armorer is gonna get more of a charge. The armorer, I feel, is gonna 100%, you know, go to prison. I feel that. As for Alec Baldwin, whether he's gonna go to prison or not, I don't know. That's gonna be more debatable. But the armorer, I feel very confident saying the armorer is gonna go to prison. But yeah.
Hey, Pro.
Yes.
So my brother just told me the thing I was telling you earlier. He said there was witnesses that said he didn't punch first. the other kid said we're jumping him punch first.
Oh, okay.
And there's a bunch of other witnesses saying that Kay did not punch first. So he might.
Well,
he might
hopefully
be
that
good.
helps your brother's case out. But you know,
I'm
about
hoping it does.
going back to the you know, Alec Baldwin thing though, is yeah. So he is guilty of neglect in my opinion. I definitely do think he's guilty of neglect. And thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. I don't think the $200
Sure,
controller
love you
will be
whenever you
worth it
can.
for me because I occasionally will throw my controller and it will break. I guess, you know, people handle
my
controllers
brother.
differently, but the controller does have a nice case that you can put it into, too.
I'd like to make a small note, though, to the previous. If you were on set and you basically, like, much like if you were at a restaurant or any other business, I want to talk to the manager or the owner or whatever. Who's the guy at the top? It was him. Baldwin's the guy at the top.
Yeah, well,
Everything that goes on, he bears some level of
and
responsibility.
that's the thing is, like, I see these comments online, like these comments as defending Alec Baldwin, but they don't understand. He was the one, if you read the facts of the case, he was the one who was in charge of hiring the armorer. He was in charge of getting the staff together, and staff actually had told the police that Baldwin has actually skipped safety meetings. So Baldwin skipped safety meetings. He didn't have that. And staff actually, the same day of the shooting, I believe, the staff actually walked off the set because to protest unsafe working conditions. So nobody is talking about that. And so, like, the people defending Baldwin, do they even know about that? So it just, you know, it honestly, like, the people that defend Baldwin, I feel like they're defending him only because he's a celebrity that they like, and they're not looking at the facts of the case. They're not looking at the fact that he was responsible for hiring the armorer. He handled a firearm. He people had walked off the set due to you know unsafe conditions. He skipped safety meetings. So there's a lot of stuff that you can, and also not only that, Baldwin was also caught in a lie. He was there, and we can prove that he was lying.
He claimed to not pull the trigger,
exactly.
which is 100%
and
a lie.
the revolver that he fired, that was a 45, right? That he fired?
I don't remember the
think so.
caliber, but if I remember correctly, though, it was a Pieta, something with a P. It's an Italian reproduction of. It's in the style of the revolver that they were trying to copy, but it's a modern firearm.
Yeah, people were saying that it's the Cattleman, but it's not the Cattleman, is it? It just looks similar, right?
Something like that.
But
someone in the comments said, yeah, the staff left that day. Apparently, we were complaining about safety conditions.
yeah, so the staff had walked off complaining about safety conditions, and also here's the thing about it, is literally Alec Baldwin lied about what had happened, and we know that he lied. We have proof that he lied because he claimed that he never pulled the trigger. He claimed the gun just went off on its own, and you can go on you can go on YouTube, and you can look up so many experts. There are so many experts. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of videos where so many experts have taken the exact same revolver that Baldwin used, the exact same one, and they tested it. And they said that under no circumstances it's impossible for the revolver to go off on its own. That without pulling the trigger, it's impossible for that one to go off on its own. It can't happen. Even in the worst even in the worst conditions possible, the revolver is not going to go off on its own. Even if it's like a rusty mess, it would still be very, very rare for it to actually go off on its own. So it doesn't match what he's saying. So that's what I would just say, is I would just say that the people that are defending Baldwin, they need to do better research. And just because he's your favorite celebrity doesn't make him innocent. So it's like the law applies to everyone. I'm that type of person. I can't stand privilege. And I believe very, very strongly that, like, the law applies to everyone. I don't care, you know, if you are a celebrity. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're a famous actor. The law applies to everyone. And so Baldwin was neglect. He was neglect in his hiring. He was neglect in just how he handled the whole thing, skipping the safety meetings, lying to the police about not pulling the trigger when he did pull the trigger. I personally think he's guilty of neglect, and he did tragically cause the death of another person. And I hope he feels the full punishment of the law. But, you know, it's going to be for the courts to determine. We believe in a system of innocence until proven guilty. So it is going to be up for the courts to decide on that. But, you know,
Someone said tell O.J. Simpson that.
I was going to say, I think Chaz was about to go into this as well, is the only scenario where such a thing is even remotely possible, because you got to keep in mind the interaction between the sear of the trigger and the notches on the hammer that the sear interacts with. There are 3 positions on that particular revolver. You have this first position that's more like a safety, and it's not half cock, it's separate from that. you pull the hammer back just a little bit, and it gets stopped there. And this is like a carry position. Like, you want to have the hammer locked back, and you're carrying it perhaps with a loaded cylinder, whatever you want to do. And this just keeps it so that if you bump the hammer physically, it does not go forward and strike a primer. And then you have half cock, which is where you can manipulate the cylinder freely. And then you go all the way back where, you know, you want to fire. You pulled the hammer all the way back, and now you can fire. And
I was about to get into that.
Yep. Yeah.
But since this is a modern reproduction, I'm sure they have a transfer bar to prevent the smack and it goes off.
It might. I haven't looked into if it does have the transfer bar safety.
Thank you, Sky, for subscribing, and thank you, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Haddad Aziz was diagnosed cholesterol. Yes, who is that? I don't. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know who that is.
Did I just kill a fox? So what happened to the posse thing?
Oh, Trio just was in the middle of a mission.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Arctic. He did.
Oh, you're in a mission.
He did
Okay.
He did lie about
over
that.
now.
I don't know why there was live rounds in the set. I don't know either. But also, guys, there's another thing that I read about the case, which it just shows you how irresponsible the staff was at the place and the armorer especially. But the firearms that were actually sent to the set were actually loaded with live ammunition while they were being transported. And you never do that to a firearm. And for people wondering, because I see a lot of comments of people saying, why did they use real firearms? Why didn't they have real prop guns? Because in a lot of movie sets, prop guns actually cost more money than real firearms. A lot of people actually don't know that. And so it's the reason that some firearms actually cost less than prop guns is because basically for a prop gun is you would have to make like a reproduction of that same gun, but just basically make it, you know, not firing. And so then some of these other guns, there's like, you know, so many of them in circulation that they don't cost as much. Like if you, for example, if you know the movie Lord of War, that Nicolas Cage, like the arms dealing movie, when he's actually walking by all those AKs in the movie, those AKs are actually all real. Those aren't props, and because they actually found that it was actually cheaper to actually have like thousands of real AKs in the movie than actually yeah, so that's why a lot of movie sets use real guns instead of prop guns, because the real guns will actually cost less than the prop guns. A lot of people actually don't know that.
There's certain context that it's not all the time, but sometimes, yeah.
There's yeah, the guns were actually shipped loaded. That were to the Alec Baldwin set, so they were just shipped loaded.
Really?
Yeah, so I read one story that said that they were shipped loaded, and the thing is, you never do that. Anyone that knows proper firearms, you know, safety procedure is you never ship a firearm loaded. You never move a firearm loaded. The only time a firearm should be loaded is when you're ready to point a target. That's the only time a firearm should be loaded. There's no reason for a firearm to ever be loaded other than that.
Excluding concealed carry kind of stuff.
Well, that's more for self-defense. You know, you're carrying it around for
Yeah,
protection.
no, like if you're not carrying it, yes.
But the point in this example, this isn't, you know, this example though, this is for a movie set, and there should not be a firearm loaded when it's especially when it's transported. The only time a firearm should be loaded is literally when you're ready to fire at a target. That's the only time it is. But you know, the people.
Who's the idiot that decided to have them loaded when they were?
I don't know.
The armorer. We were just.
The armorer was careless. Alec Baldwin was careless for hiring the armorer. Alec Baldwin lied. You know, he was. Yeah. So it's
Oh, okay.
Oh, Trio, could you start up a bounty? Just don't do the bounty hunter, the DLC ones. Don't do those, because if you do that, it'll glitch out the private session. Do the regular ones, the infamous ones. Don't do the infamous ones. Yeah.
Let me just invite them.
And those AKs weren't real AKs; they were VZ58s. Okay, the Czech. I know what the VZ58. That's the Czechoslovakian version. Okay, it looks different. It functions a bit different than the AK-47, but it looks kind of similar. Okay, I know what you're talking.
From the distance, it kind of looks the same.
I know. Yeah, the Czechoslovakian VZ58. It looks like an AK, but it functions differently. But
you got two super chats.
But you know what I was talking about when I said that they were all real AKs. You know what I was saying? I was basically saying that they were all real firearms in that movie, in the Lord of War. So that's
What can I kill now? You got two super chats, by the way. Blinded Eagle, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and the Zom Fanatic.
Did you
Zombie
hear
fanatic.
about the 5 officers who got released on bond after murdering somebody? What is happening to this country? Thank you, Blinded Eagle. It's just, you know, it's really unfortunate. Thank you for the super chat. I actually don't know much about that case. I know that a video was released recently, but, you know, if those officers had, so I don't know exactly everything that happened, but if those officers had engaged in, you know, police brutality and, you know, it led to the death of an innocent person, then, you know, they should face the full penalty of the law. Like I said, the law applies to everyone. This applies to celebrities, and this applies to police. Nobody's above the law. But I actually don't know that much about that case that you're talking about right now. I got a bunch of videos on it recommended to me on YouTube, but I actually don't know the fine details, so I can't speak on it. I do know that the police had, you know, beat somebody up and killed them, I believe. But, that's...
Oh, poor guy.
And the thing is about it is this, I know there's like 5 officers involved in it, and if that is the case, if there was like 5 officers involved, the fact that one of the officers didn't try to stop the other ones, that, you know, if you had 5 people there and it still led to the death of somebody, that's, you know, what were those officers doing? But, well, I guess we'll see what happens with that case too.
Then there's another super chat after that one.
Thank you, Zombie Fanatic. Were the Nazis prejudiced against black people? The Nazis were racist. The Nazis were racist white supremacists. They were racist against anybody who wasn't a German Aryan. So anyone that wasn't a German Aryan, the Nazis had considered inferior to them. The Nazis hated Jewish people the most. They hated people who were gay. They hated people who were handicapped. They hated the Roma people the most. But they also hated anybody who was not, you know, German Aryan. The Nazis didn't even like the Japanese, who were their allies. The Nazis also really hated Slavic people. A lot of people don't know that. Slavic people, we're talking about people that live in Eastern Europe, like Poles, Russians, Ukrainians, Belarusians, you know, Czechs, Slovaks. They really didn't like Slavic
Wait,
people.
I'm not in the posse?
No.
Oh, I guess he'll invite you right after this.
Mr. Waifu Taker's apologizing to you and everybody else in the chat for some reason. I don't know the specifics.
I'll look in a moment.
Don't deal with it.
Okay.
But that's why
I accepted the posse invite, but I didn't join. I don't know why.
Okay, we'll invite you right after this mission. But that's why I've always said that the Nazis are the most evil group that has ever existed in, like, Europe, that's ever ruled in Europe. They're literally the most evil group because if the Nazis had won the war, they would have exterminated hundreds of millions of people. So they were, in my opinion, they were definitely the most evil group that had existed in European history.
Look at the Wolfenstein games. That showed that the Nazis won the war.
I did play the one on the PS4. I don't remember what that one was called, but
Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
It was a 2014 one. That's the one I played.
I'm thinking of 2 of them, either Old Blood or New Order. But there's also a 4th one, which is Youngblood, which is the main character's kids.
Hey Patrick, happy Friday. You're doing a great job in Medal of Honor playthrough. Takes me back to my college days. Really been enjoying it. Thank you, Eric. Thanks, man.
I have a question about that. In Medal of Honor, can you pick up the enemy's weapons, or are you stuck with whatever the game gives you?
You can find some weapons, but it's actually hard to find weapons in Medal of Honor. They're in specific places a lot of times, so they're kind of rare.
Okay. Are they any good?
Yeah, like I saw one of the comments on my Guadalcanal video, and one person told me I missed a Japanese machine gun that I could have picked up, but I guess that it was because that mission was so hard. It was all you just had the bolt action Springfield and the 1911 for the entire mission, and I killed like 200 enemies.
Yeah, remember in Frontline you can kind of just pick up whatever, although there were the Kar 98s, you couldn't pick those up, but if you found something, it was yours.
Yeah.
You had like 10 weapons in your inventory or whatever.
I do miss the games that actually let you have like one primary, and a pistol. I really like that sort of thing, so I don't have just stuck to 2 weapons.
Bro, don't feel bad about delays. It's better to cover all points rather than skipping in a hurry like the GTA trilogy. Don't let promised dates let you stop being a pro. Your quality makes you pro. Thank you, Gazala, if I'm reading your name correctly. Thanks, man.
Yeah. You just got another channel member too.
Thank you, Sensitivity. Thank you for sponsoring my channel. Pro, thoughts on the Battle of Iwo Jima? Well, Iwo Jima was very different than like a lot of the other Pacific battles. Where some of the Pacific battles you had like for example, you had like Guadalcanal, which was like a very jungly island. But then you had Iwo Jima, which Iwo Jima was like kind of like a mountainous island, but there was like no trees because like the islands had like a lot of caves. And so, like, the island was bombarded by, like, you know, American ships for, like, weeks. And so, like, there was no trees, it was just craters, and, like, the mountain was just completely, like, bombarded. But the Japanese were still very well fortified, so, Iwo Jima was, like, a, you know, very brutal battle.
Mount Suribachi, I believe it was the mountain that the Marines plant the flag on.
Mr. Waifu, it's okay, you know, don't feel bad. I do play on PS5.
Fool's Gold. What was I gonna say? Did the Marines ever get their hands on the M1 Grands?
Yes, they did, of course. The Marine, it was only 1942 when 1941, 1942, where the Marines had the Garand, had the Springfield 1903. But then after that, they had the Garand. Like for example, in the next mission is going to be Pistol Pete Showdown, and in Pistol Pete Showdown, you're going to have a Garand in that one. But that's because the Army comes in. So that's why the when the Army showed up to Guadalcanal, because the Marines went in first, the Marines just had the Springfield 1903, so they didn't have the Garands. And then when the Army came in, they had Garands, and the Marines had gotten some Garands from them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard Red Dead is getting a security update.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's Red Dead Online is supposedly getting like a security update, but it's not gonna, you know, there's not going to be like, it's just for you know stop glitches and stuff like that. It's not no content.
They did say they'll add some stuff, but as far as being content,
probably 2 Telegram missions. That's probably gonna be their version of content.
Yep.
Someone just sent you a super chat, bro.
Would I play Call of Duty?
GoPro.
When is it?
Like 1 minute.
Like 1 minute. Yeah.
Would you consider playing Black Ops 3?
We could try Fool's Gold. Just hold 1 second.
Wait,
What's the timer on it right now?
I also pressed it. Okay, there's something wrong with the posse. I'm pressing.
Invite everyone to
X on,
posse
like,
if you
Yeah, I've invited Raven. Are you joining, Raven?
I pressed X on the invite, but it didn't let me join for some reason.
Leave one of your posses. It might work then.
I just left 2 of them.
Okay, I'm ready whenever.
Hold on, let me leave another. Maybe something's going wrong here.
Wait, hang on, it might be, I might have too many people.
If people get DDoSed or their PCs start to get bricked because of the extreme exploits in GTA Online, do you think Rockstar will get some losses?
There is actually, and thank you for the super chat, Binded Eagle, but you're not the first person that actually asked me about this, but,
it disappeared, I guess.
Raven, join now.
Basically,
your invite disappeared.
Here's what I think about this, though. I think that if your character gets like, you know, banned from GTA Online because of some modder, so if some modder just bans your character, then I don't think you can really sue Rockstar for that, because it's not really doing any physical damage to you. It's just, you know, or monetary damage to you. It's just, you know, you're not able to play the game, so you're not able to play the game online. So I don't think you can really sue if you get banned from the online game because of a modder.
I've just froze.
But what I will say though is,
I can join Fool's Gold.
Guys, just 1 moment, please. Just let me just. I don't want to interrupt anyone. Let me answer this point. But basically, I think that somebody could probably sue Rockstar when if those modders, for example, if they're able to like hack into your social club and they're able to find out like personal information, they're able to find out like, you know, your first and last name, you know, stuff like that, like about you, because they hack into your profile, then yeah, at that point you could sue them probably. If it's like, you know, breach of your personal information, and like Rockstar's systems are so bad, because that probably might be something suable. But like, you know, suing for like your character getting banned, no, I don't think that's gonna really work. But like, if your private info gets out, then yeah, somebody will probably be able to sue at that point. And thank you, Michelle. Would you try to play some Black Ops 3 one day? I could try, but I've never... Black Ops 2 was like the last Black Ops game that I was actually into.
Cold War?
Are you guys gonna play full scope?
We're in it right
Already
now.
in it.
Okay, I guess I'll join that.
I was just checking if you wanted to play Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and will you play Mafia 2, Mafia 3? I'll definitely play Mafia 2, Mafia 3, but I wanna revisit the Mafia games, like play Mafia 1 again, and then Mafia 2, and then Mafia 3.
Just don't play Mafia 3 on the PS5. It doesn't work.
It doesn't?
It doesn't. It's a mess. It even says that when you launch it, it's not going to run properly.
The thing is, you use Slippery, and when people use Slippery, you guys saw what I did right there? When they use Slippery, they don't expect you to tackle them. So, what you can do to counter, like, Slippery, shotgun, or tackle them, they don't expect that.
Nice kill, Chase. Chess.
I forgot to bring my weapons. I only have the revolver. Yay. It's gonna be fun.
Do you know about the ridiculous GT Online taxi god mode glitch? No? There's a taxi god mode glitch now? What is that? I'm really curious on that sensitivity. Thank you for sponsoring my channel, man.
I got him.
In HBO's The Pacific, there's a Marine that says they're using guns their grandfather used, and I always thought he was exaggerating, but I guess not. Yeah. The Springfield had been in service in, the Springfield 1903 was in service since, you know, basically 1903. So if they're fighting in, like, 1941, you know, that's, you know, nearly 40 years later. So yeah, it's entirely possible their grandfather might have used the weapon.
He got away.
Yeah, so see, when they use Slippery, just do that, tackle them, and they don't see it coming. Who is the most evil group in history? The Nazis. Definitely.
But what if they kill you before you can tackle them?
Who has the armor right now?
I have the armor behind you.
Okay, you have to get some more kills to catch up to this free mountain guy. Let's see if I can
Slippery with a auto shotgun.
Get somebody else. Get that armor there. No.
Whoa! What just happened?
Never mind. He got it back.
The guy with Slippery has it. This is not good right now.
He's dead.
Okay, I'm going for
Someone
it.
gun for it.
Never mind. Okay. Okay, that was a good
Take it
shot.
down.
Well, I mean, I always try to play with everyone I can, Ricky. I might start playing in some, you know, I might start playing in public sessions again. Maybe we'll do it right after this match. But I had to play in some public sessions because there was some, you know, there are some really bad griefing problems. This is Fool's Gold.
You mean play in private?
Yeah.
Dynamite, watch out.
Can't hit him. Got him.
Stun lock him.
Yeah, I couldn't hit him for a second there. Like, the bullet went through him.
Slippery. That's what he's doing.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't even come equipped with weapons, so screw it.
I somehow got my Springfield. I don't know where it came from. Ah, he got me.
Ah, damn.
He's got the semi-auto. I have a repeating.
I saw someone claim that Russia has only waged one war in its history, while the U.S. has waged 201. What? I don't know where that person is getting that ridiculous statistic from, but I could.
This
Mario.
guy is God mode. Hold up.
Somebody has God mode? What?
Arham 406. I was locking onto him and no damage. He doesn't have slippery. Maybe tonics, but I wasn't even getting hit markers.
Arham, you're saying?
Yeah, he has the armor right now.
Okay.
I see him. He's stuck cover behind trees.
Okay, what I was saying, Mario, what I was saying is that Russia has invaded a lot of countries throughout its history. Like, you can go hundreds of years into Russian history. Russia has invaded so many countries. And do you know what's honestly really annoying? What's really annoying is that the people in Russia will constantly point to a country like America, and they'll say that America has, like, invaded so many countries. Yes, there have been stupid wars that America has definitely partaken in. Like, Iraq was definitely, like, a really stupid war. I don't think we should have ever been there. Like, you know, Vietnam, you could definitely argue was a stupid war as well. But the thing about it is that whenever you criticize Russians for, like, in past invasions, do you know what they always do? They always say, oh, that wasn't Russia, that was the Soviet Union. That's what they always say. Oh, it wasn't Russia, it was the Soviet. It's just a stupid excuse. It's a way to deflect. That's basically what it is. It was still, even though it was a different government, it was still, the largest landmass was Russia. It's still their history. It was still their responsibility. So they always try to deflect from, like, Soviet invasions, and they'll say, oh, it wasn't Russia, it was the Soviet. No, it's nonsense. It's a stupid argument to deflect from, you know, their own, you know, bad history. Like I said, the U.S. has definitely done stupid things like Iraq. I don't deny that. But, like, you know, when the Russians claim that they've never invaded, like, other countries, it's nonsense. They've invaded so many countries throughout their history. And even if you go back before the Soviet Union, if you just look at the Russian Empire, look at just the countries the Russian Empire has invaded. They invaded Central Asia, they invaded Siberia, they invaded, you know, Poland, they invaded, you know, the Baltic states, and then they invaded the Baltic states again during the Soviet times. Georgia, Armenia, you know, you go Afghanistan, you know, you go down the list. Hungary, 1956 Hungary. There's a lot of countries that you can name off.
Ah, he's got the armor now.
Damn, this is why I wish you could switch to a gun here. So don't listen to those don't listen to them. You know, this is nonsense, Mario.
Ah. Oh, I got a trophy.
Let's see here, did I miss any chats? You think you could do a video on rental properties or something in that matter? And is it easy to get into? Rental. What I'll say about rental properties is I don't think they're very hard to get into, but they require a lot of money to get into. That's what I would say, unless you're going to take a mortgage out. But, you know, most people are going to take a mortgage out. But, you know, there are some things I can tell you about rental properties, you know, to do and not to do. And one thing that I will tell you guys, if you ever have a rental property, one thing that you want to never ever do when you have a rental property, and that is never pay for utilities. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever, you know, in the lease that you create for, like, you know, let's assume this is a house that you're renting out. If you're renting out like a house, do not pay for the utilities. Don't agree to that in the lease. Don't pay for the water, the gas, or the electricity. If you want to be nice, you can pay for landscaping. You can pay for their grass to be mowed. You can pay for snow removal. That's fine. There's no issue with that. But if you want, don't pay for utilities. The reason you don't want to pay for utilities, and it has nothing to do with greed. Nothing to do with that. The reason you don't want to pay for utilities is because, think about it this way. If you pay for somebody's water, or you pay for their electricity, or you pay for their heat, right? And you're paying for that, and they know that they can use as much of that as they want to, people are going to abuse that. They will. They'll leave the lights running even when they go out of the house, and that will just stack up just so much. You know, they'll use way more water than they would need. They would, you know, so you could just imagine the electricity people would waste, the water that people would waste if they're not paying for it. So that's just what I'll say is that don't pay for utilities if you're gonna do a rental. You know, pay for their snow removal, pay for their their landscaping. Help them out when they need it. So when they have when a tenant needs something, you go there and you help them out right away. Provide good service, but don't pay for utilities, because if people aren't paying for the utilities, they're gonna feel that they can use as much as they want as that, and they'll abuse it. And so they'll leave the lights running even when they don't need it and stuff like that. And you're gonna it's gonna add up a lot on you in the end. The God mode is you start taxi and hold triangle. What? Oh, thank you, Bambi. I haven't heard of a God mode taxi now, but that sounds ridiculous.
Oh, it is stupid easy.
God mode taxi glitch. Wow. So yeah, one of the most
Can
boring
you
businesses.
fire weapons in the taxi?
One of the most boring businesses in the game had brought us another game-breaking bug. Wonderful, Rockstar, right? Yeah.
No, you're not in the taxi. Is you all you have to do is just you literally walk up to the circle while holding a button.
And then you're on foot and you have God mode?
You're on foot, you're on God mode, yep.
And and is there a way to knock that person out of God mode?
Start up a headhunter. I don't know why this
You
works,
have to run them
but
over
if
with
you
a tank,
go
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as the other God mode glitches. That's how to knock them out of God mode. You gotta start headhunter, run them over with a tank.
Gilly
go on.
I was gonna say Gilly killed 6 people in God mode last night on his stream. It was pretty hilarious. He might make a video on that.
Remember when for 24 hours when the casino dropped, simply walking up to the front door and then you get a prompt, do you want your penthouse, do you want the casino, or do you want the garage? And at that menu, you just, no, never mind, I'm going back outside. And now you're God mode. Simple as that.
Yeah. Out of all the big updates in GTA Online, what do you think was the least expected update, and what do you think was the most expected update? The most least expected update, I'd say Arena Wars, because that just came out of nowhere. It's like, what? The arena with, like, stunt cars? Like, I don't think anybody really saw that coming. People predicted heists. People predicted heist properties, new businesses. But I don't think anybody predicted, like, some arena rally, like, DLC. The most expected DLC, that would be a tough one to think about.
I'd say either heists or bikers.
Well, Heist we knew was coming out. Bikers, I don't know. Maybe I would say Smuggler's Run, because people were predicting that Rockstar was eventually going to add an aviation update. So maybe Smuggler's Run was the one that was the most expected. I'm not talking about the business. I'm talking more about just like the ability to buy a hangar. What do I consider the most hardest Sniper Elite mission? Thank you, Justin. For me, my pick is when you're defending Schweiger from the Soviets in Sniper Elite V2, and Kaiser Frederick Museum also from V2. Well, V2 has some really hard missions, especially like Karlshorst Command Post, but I personally think the hardest Sniper Elite mission is Deathstorm 3. If you want to watch, I did a video on my channel, Deathstorm 3 on Authentic difficulty, so I played on the hardest difficulty, and I didn't die during that. And if you want to know, the mission took me 2 hours to complete. That's how hard that mission is. So it's a 2-hour video for just one mission. So that's so I'd say Deathstorm 3. That's what I would say is the hardest mission.
Is it just me, or is everyone hearing wolves howling?
I had a pack attack me as soon as the fool's goals ended.
See here,
Wait, am I even the same station as you guys?
Oh, we'll invite you.
Pro.
What's up?
I just like that right there. Can I have an invite back, please?
Oh, can you guys?
Gotcha.
Would you guys invite him?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I got you.
I got Raven. Hold on.
Alright, I gotta go.
Thank you, Kool-Aid, for the super chat. Holocaust Remembrance Day. Prayers and rest in peace. Oh, that is today, right? And yeah. It was one of the worst events in human history, and that's why I said, like, the Nazis are the most evil group that existed in human history, because if they won the war, they would have exterminated hundreds of millions of people. But thank God, though, that they were stopped in the end. What?
We're in a public session, by the way.
Okay, that's fine, though.
Not worry about it for now.
Yeah. Let me start up a posse here. And your opinion on the Holodomor, the Soviet era. Yes, that was when Stalin had starved, you know, millions of Ukrainians to death. This was, you know, in the early 1930s. That's a really that is you know, one of the worst things the Soviet Union ever did, and one of the worst things Stalin did is when he starved the Ukrainians. And that was basically when the kulak, that's what they were called, the kulaks. It's more of a disrespectful term, but it was a reference to
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
the kulaks were a reference to Ukrainian farmers during Soviet times who were basically doing all right. And what had happened was Stalin had actually forced collectivization. So what actually happened was Lenin, who was Stalin's predecessor, he had actually given land away to some farmers. And what actually happened was when Stalin actually took power, Stalin had actually collectivized the farms, so he basically nationalized everything, so everything belonged to the Soviet government at that point. And what actually happened was the Ukrainian farmers were ordered to like surrender like 70 to 80% of their crops. And the Ukrainian farmers had basically said no, like, you know, we work this land, this is our land, and, you know, we're not going to give the government everything that we've worked for. And so Stalin had, you know, his, you know, NKVD, his secret police squads go in, they killed a lot of people. There was a lot of massacres in the Holodomor, and Stalin's policies had basically just caused mass starvation. And the thing about that is that some of the starvation was intentional. So some of it Stalin was doing it on purpose, just to starve out the Ukrainian farmers. And so that's one of the rare times in human history where you have a famine that was intentionally caused, because even when you have famines in history, typically the famine isn't done intentionally. It's typically done because of bad policies. Typically bad policies cause it, and a lot of people die. But that was like an example of a famine where the government intentionally starved its people. Like how often do you hear about that, where a government starves its own people on purpose? But that's what Stalin did. Stalin was a, you know, cruel maniac. So that was you know, one of the worst events also in history. Hello, Pro. I just subscribed. Do you think you will ever hit 1 million in Reddit Online? Probably over time.
If 1 million is the max.
I speak Polish also.
I think my game's bugging out or something, because I keep hearing wolves howling.
What's...
Yusuf, by the way, you can join the posse.
Oh.
Have I ever played Medal of Honor European Assault? Oh, yes, I have, definitely.
Yep. There you go. I'm in the pocket.
Yeah, go on my channel, Mario, and look up Operation Deathstorm 3, and you'll see it took me 2 hours to complete.
Hey, Pro, I got a question for you.
What's your question?
What's the next game you're gonna play after Medal of Honor?
What do heck?
After Medal of Honor, it will be a Chinatown Wars.
Ooh. I played a bit of that on my phone. Isn't that in Liberty City?
Yes, it is. It takes place 1 year after GTA 4. It's in the same universe as GTA 4 and GTA 5.
Oh, okay. Oh, the howling stopped.
Let me see here. Is the Pro Controller worth getting? Well, I did a review on it yesterday. Basically, if you play a lot, like, you know, I think it would be worth getting because the sticks will save you money and you won't have to deal with stick drift. But if you play like once a week, I would say no. Maybe wait till it's on sale, or maybe wait till somebody's selling it used.
Oh, that does remind me. I meant to tell you earlier, because I mentioned to you previously, Sniper Elite is getting a Season 2.
Yes.
And they showed a very short teaser, like literally 5 seconds. But you could clearly tell in the 5 seconds there is a Mosin coming along.
Yep.
So we'll get to see one of those.
I hope that they do some Pacific missions.
Well, Carl was around Europe, so maybe we're going to have a new protagonist in the Japanese theater.
Yeah, I don't know. The little
Pacific Assault, I'll
5-second
play one
teaser
day
wasn't
too.
very clear on where at.
The hardest mission in Sniper Elite 5, I would say probably the hardest mission in Sniper Elite 5, I would probably say is probably mission 3, that like big castle town. I would say that one's the hardest one.
Oh, the Spy Master one.
Yeah, because you're marching up like towards that castle, and there's like not that many places to hide. Yeah, I would say that mission 3 in Sniper Elite 5 is probably the
Not only
hardest one.
that, but the stupid little patrolling buggies everywhere. Yeah, that's missions. Spy Academy, that's what it's called. Yeah, that one's a pain.
I actually quite like that one, but yeah, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
When you go in the taxi door, hold triangle. No requirements, 3 second, and God, oh, wow. So it's ridiculous. So it's the fact that taxi, you know, that's, yeah, that the fact that God mode glitches are in the game like that. That's just so stupid. You're not blocked.
It's almost like it's outdated code or something.
Yeah, the engine is actually a decade old.
I'm back. What did I miss?
An ambush.
How would you say hello? My name is
I'm
Patrick.
alive,
Polish. Cześć, moje imię jest Patrick. That's how you would say that in Polish. The taxi glitch has flooded every online lobby. And when was this taxi glitch discovered? This is just today? When this?
No, it's been around for a bit.
But the taxi glitch, the new one that just came out?
Yeah. I mean, technically, it's been around since the taxi was added, but
And so basically,
people find ways around stuff.
so when somebody does this taxi God mode glitch, right? They can just get into like a fighter jet and go into God mode at that point.
Yeah, it was discovered yesterday. I'm seeing a bunch of videos on it.
So literally somebody, okay, so if I'm getting this right, they're basically in God mode permanently on foot, and they can get into any vehicle, and so they can get into like a fighter jet and just constantly blow you up, and even if you blow up the fighter jet, it won't kill them.
Pretty much.
I guess so. It's some of them were saying a day ago, and some of them were saying 3 days ago. So within this week.
Pro, do you believe in Jesus? Well, that's a very that is a very like how would I say on this question?
Loaded question.
Yeah, well, it's
Personal?
it's kind of a bit of a personal question too. Like the thing about that is that you could probably make the argument that Jesus was a real person, like a historical person. But then the argument is, you know, over whether you know, whether religion is like, you know, true. That's in that regard too. But, you know, I'm not going to get into that. I don't like, you know, arguing religion and stuff like that. I'm an agnostic, so I'm neutral on this. So, you know, if you're asking me, do I believe he was a real historical person? Yeah, probably. If you're asking me, like, do I think that there's, like, you know, do I believe in the religion and stuff like that? You know, I'm just neutral on that. So it's not taking a side on that. No, I'm not an atheist. Like I said, I'm an agnostic. I'm when it comes to religion, I'm just completely neutral. The people don't know what an agnostic is. Just look it up. That's basically my views. What do you think are the worst resupply and sell missions for each individual business in GTA Online? And what update do you think deserves a part 2? And also, have you seen useless facts about GTA 5? Well, I'll answer the quickest one first. I haven't seen useless facts about GTA 5. But now the what update do I think deserves a part 2? I would say maybe Smuggler's Run, probably. Yeah, probably Smuggler's Run, because people have been asking for more hangar space for a long time, and maybe new missions, maybe a new way to make money through the business. And what are the worst resupply and sell missions for each business? The worst resupply mission for the MC business. The MCs, and I don't recommend doing resupply missions for the MCs. I think the worst MC resupply mission is probably the mission where you have to go to Tequila La, and you have to fight those bikers, and they pull out melee weapons, and they keep killing you over and over again, and you gotta keep running in. I think that's the worst MC resupply mission. The worst bunker resupply mission, I would say, is probably the mission where you have to take the tank with a cargo bob. That's probably the worst one. The worst resupply missions for the crates, so that's easy. The worst resupply mission for the crates is the Lupe, hookies mission. You gotta go across the map, swim underwater. That one definitely is. The worst resupply mission for the is there other the hangar? The hangar, the worst resupply mission would have to be, I'd say probably the Titan one, because it just takes too long, and you're waiting for the slow Titan to drop the package. What is there any other businesses that I missed at this point? I don't know about Acid Lab, because Acid Lab I haven't done resupply missions. I just buy supplies. Now the worst sell mission for the MC is this post-op. Worst sell mission for CEO crates is Titan with 10 drops of helicopters. The worst sell mission for the bunker is probably, I would say, the 3 Merryweather Insurgent vehicles with 5 drops each. Probably even worse than Dune FAVs, because at least Dune FAVs is just a single drop. You don't have to fight anyone. Worst hangar mission, cell mission. That's a tough one. I would say probably the Mogul one. The worst cell mission for the nightclub, where you have to take the truck all the way to Paleto Bay and then drop it on a barge in the ocean. Worst Acid Lab mission, probably be the 10 Paperboy drops, but it's not that bad. I hope I answered all your questions there.
The tank resupply for the bunker, it's not that bad if you don't take the cargo bob.
What would Napoleon think of Hitler? Well, thank you, Jimmy, for the super chat. Well, I personally think that Napoleon would probably despise Hitler. Napoleon was not a good man. He wasn't. But I don't know I wouldn't use the word evil to describe Napoleon. He wasn't a good man. He did bad things. Hitler, I would say evil 100%. Comparing Napoleon to Hitler, though, like, Napoleon was a bad man, but, Hitler was just 10 times worse than him. Napoleon did do good things, some good things, though, which people, forget. Like, Napoleon brought in the Napoleonic Code, which the Napoleonic Code had Napoleonic Code basically abolished aristocratic privilege. And the aristocrats had, more privileges than, the lower classes. So because you were an aristocrat, you were given special privileges over everyone else. Aristocrats were generally allowed to go to universities. They were allowed to go to colleges, where if you were not an aristocrat, you were not allowed to go to college. That's, a perfect example of aristocratic privilege. Aristocratic privilege also guaranteed you, a say in the government. If you were not an aristocrat, you didn't have that privilege. You didn't have a say in the government. So Napoleon had gotten rid of aristocratic privilege, and basically Napoleonic Code was that everyone is equal under the law. So it doesn't matter if you were an aristocrat or if you're a peasant, everyone is equal under the law, which Napoleonic Code is still used to this day. Everyone is equal under the law. That's, so he brought in Napoleonic law into Europe. Napoleon had also abolished the Spanish Inquisition, which the Spanish Inquisition was a religious court in Spain, which it was just, the Inquisition was just when you see people getting burned alive in Spain, that was what the Inquisition was. It was a stupid religious court that would just, sentence people to prison or, death for just really dumb things. The Spanish Inquisition went after people for saying that the Earth was not in the center, because they believe that the sun had actually revolved around Earth, not that the Earth had revolved around sun. And if you actually said that in Spain, you could actually be in prison for that. So that's a perfect example of Spanish Inquisition, being stupid. But he did abolish that. But the bad things Napoleon did annex, parts of countries. He did, one of Napoleon's biggest mistakes was that he had actually appointed his brother as king of Spain, which he shouldn't have done that. He probably should have brought in a democratic government into Spain. He probably shouldn't have. That was probably friendly to France. He should not have just put his brother as, king of Spain. Another really bad thing that Napoleon did, one of the worst things he did, was he did reintroduce slavery into Haiti. So that was, one of the, worst things that he did as well. So, he wasn't a good man, like I said. He did do some good things. He brought in Napoleonic, code. He did abolish the Spanish Inquisition, but he did bring back slavery in the French Revolution and abolish it.
What year was this?
This was Napoleon. Napoleon was arguably came to power in like 1799. He was considered first consul of France. Then he later became emperor of France. He had gotten over. He was finally defeated in it was 1814 was the Battle of Waterloo. It was 1814, I believe. So that's when Napoleon was finally defeated at that point.
I was about to say, how did he get all the way to Haiti until you said the date?
Well, Napoleon I don't think ever set foot in Haiti. He just reinstated slavery in Haiti, but
Hey Melon, quick question. The Oathbreaker you have is the Warblade variant, correct?
Yes.
I just got the plan for it on a daily up.
But yeah, I personally think that Napoleon would have despised Hitler. So that was and also here's the thing is that there's also a big difference between Napoleon's invasions and Hitler's invasions. There's a very big difference between them. And the difference between them is that Hitler was just invading innocent countries just for no reason. He just wanted to conquer those countries and just take them over, and he just slaughtered people when he had taken over those countries. Napoleon, on the other hand, did invade, a lot of countries. Some of the countries he did invade for bad reasons. But other countries, for example, were constantly starting wars with him. Like Great Britain, Spain, Prussia and Austria were starting wars with him before he started wars with them. So they formed coalitions to actually fight him. And if you're wondering, why did those countries constantly declare war on France? Why did they want, why were they declaring war on France? The reason that the coalitions were declaring war on France was because Napoleon was an aristocrat that had come from Corsica. And so he worked his way up in the French Revolution and eventually became Emperor of France. And Napoleon wanted to spread the ideas of the French Revolution into Europe. So Napoleon was a very strange leader, because Napoleon didn't believe in a complete democracy. He was a dictator. But he believed in a lot of the ideas of the French Revolution, like he believed in social equality, and he wanted to spread that into Europe. And so the other monarchs at the time, they actually felt threatened by that. So they didn't like that. They didn't like this idea of this man rising to become like Emperor of France. And so they basically felt that it threatened their power, because then they felt the exact same thing could happen in their country, that they could have a revolution. That's why so many European countries declared war on France during the French Revolution, because they were scared that the French Revolution would spread into their country, and so they were trying to suppress and put down the French Revolution. But that's basically, another thing about that. But yeah, but like I said, Napoleon was not a good man. He was a very, I'd say he's a very interesting man to study. Because he did do some good things, he did bad things, obviously, but he's I would say he's a very interesting figure to read about in history. But when you see people comparing Napoleon to Hitler, no, Hitler is just 10 times worse than Napoleon. Hitler had committed genocide. He had slaughtered people, based on their race. Napoleon, did invade countries, but he wasn't doing it to that extent, what Hitler was doing. So I don't think it's a, comparison when people make that. Have you heard of the Napoleon complex? Yes, basically when people think that they're, the world revolves around them. And thank you, Ender. You can also hold business battle cargo in God mode. Oh, wow. Thank you, Ender, for the super chat.
Where'd everybody go? It's just me and one other person.
Ender's here? Oh, hey, Ender.
Did you know much about other stuff apart from wars? Not trying to sound negative. No, I know, history. I know, the French Revolution is my favorite time period in history. So that's like the subject that I know like a decent amount about, and I can talk about that a lot. thoughts on George Washington? George Washington is, I think that he's the greatest leader that America has ever had. You know, he was not a perfect person. He was a flawed human being. He did own slaves, that is true. But without him, though, we wouldn't have a country in the end. You know, he's responsible for the foundation of our country. If we didn't have George Washington, we would have lost the Revolutionary War. You know, 100%. Before France even agreed to help us, we would have lost. Like, for example, like what George Washington did during the Battle of Trenton. If George Washington hadn't won the Battle of Trenton, we would have lost the revolution. It would have been over. So he needed to win the Battle of Trenton because he needed supplies for his army. He needed a victory. He needed to boost morale. But what I think makes, like, Washington, like, you know, very interesting as a leader is that Washington is one of the few leaders in history that had given up power voluntarily. So, you know, you compare him to, like, Napoleon. Napoleon had manipulated the French Revolution to gain power, where Washington did not manipulate the American Revolution to gain power. There's a big difference between them. Washington had fought the American Revolution because he basically believed that the 13 colonies should have the right to decide their own fates, to be independent of, you know, King George III and Great Britain. And what actually happened was when the war had actually ended, George Washington wanted to retire. He just wanted to retire and go back to Mount Vernon. He didn't want to lead. He didn't want to do any of that. George Washington had given up power. So George Washington was such a popular figure, and he had the whole army behind him. If George Washington wanted to, he could have just taken over Congress. He could have just taken over Congress and declared himself dictator, and nobody would have been able to stop him. That's how much power George Washington had at the end of the American Revolutionary War. And at the time, what actually happened was a lot of the European monarchs had actually called George Washington a scammer. So they called him a scammer, they called him a fraud, and they claimed that George Washington was going to take power the second that the revolution ended, and he was going to become dictator of America. That never happened. December 23rd, he actually had resigned. So he resigned. He gave up power voluntarily. When do you ever hear that about leaders? You ever hear about leaders voluntarily giving up power? You never really do that. So that's why I personally think George Washington was a remarkable person in history. Like I said, he wasn't a perfect human being. He was flawed. He did do some bad things also, but I ultimately think he's probably the most important leader in American history because the U.S. would not exist without him. So that's what I think about George Washington.
As Yuri says in Modern Warfare 3, power corrupts.
Well, I would personally say that about and also in Assassin's Creed 3, I know there's like an alternate story where what happens if Washington became dictator of America. So that's like the tyranny of King Washington. There's basically like I know a little DLC in Assassin's Creed 3 that simulates what would have happened.
Yeah, tyranny of King Washington or something.
Do a real life lore video where Nico is from. I could do that one day, possibly, Feline. I'm not going to answer modern political questions. Your Dimitri video was great. Thank you. And thank you, Binded Eagle. Do you think Rockstar should let you call your business partners Lupe for all Warehouse Agent 14 to get full supplies? Yeah, definitely. Also, In Control made the useless facts video if anyone wants to watch them. Okay, I'll probably check that out later, Binded Eagle. Let me see here. What are we gonna do now? Does anyone need to sell anything, by the way?
No.
I think I have moonshine.
Okay, let's do your moonshine then. Invite us.
Invite me to your posse, please, Richard.
Yeah.
Thank you, Binded Eagle. But yeah, all of our businesses should be able to be accessed through the phone. I think that, yeah.
So Sastry is in the session.
Well, thank you, CJ. Yeah, I think that, like, Julius is like a lot of things surrounding him, like ancient Rome. And Julius actually, ironically, in Saints Row 2 does die in a Roman stage. No, I don't drink at all.
Good.
Did I?
Mostly peaceful.
Am I missing anyone?
No. I also was in the middle of a
Yeah, I need an
Getting
invite
high
to
out,
just...
but it kind of ended.
No problem.
I have
Straight out, it's not letting
$20,000.
me.
What do I?
Oh, wait, 1 second.
I buy. I have all the guns, max camp, and a lot of other things. Clothes. But that's pretty much it. That's the thing about it, Ghost. Rockstar's added nothing to this game to keep players buying stuff, so there's nothing to buy anymore. So.
I'd like to, one quick note about that. There's literally a pistol that is stuck to single player. It's the FN Browning 1890, whatever.
Yeah.
And that is already in the game. You can just push a button and it's in the online.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they can at least give us that.
But are they really gonna do that?
No.
Probably not, but they should. It's literally push a button and it's in the online. They don't need to do anything more.
Yeah, and I know some people. When did that gun come out? 1899, right?
It's in the 1890s.
98, I think, or something.
What's the gun? I'll look it up.
It's FN Browning 1890 something, whatever. It doesn't really have a
FN
name.
Browning.
In Red,
M1900?
in Red Dead, it's like the M1890 something.
Yeah.
That's not FN M1900. It looks like a regular pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep in mind though, this was essentially the first semi-auto pistol that was
1896.
affordable.
99.
99.
No, it says 1896 right here.
I
96
think
might have been like the first model.
I think the first semi-automatic pistol in history, I think, was the C93,
the
the
Borchardt.
German pistol, right? It was the German pistol.
I think yes, the Borchardt, which is the semi-auto pistol as we know it in the game. I believe that was the first semi-auto to hit mass production. However, it's pretty damn expensive.
Wait.
Rescue the buyer. Oh, what the?
FN Browning was the first one.
This is a
Why
raid.
did they turn this into a moonshine shack?
This is a moonshine raid. That's the thing about this is people don't know about this, but the moonshine business can get raided. It's extremely rare. It happens so
I never knew about it.
so rare compared to GTA. GTA it happens around the clock, but both your businesses, Moonshine and Trader, can get raided. People don't know that. So this is actually a raid mission. It's actually extremely rare, but it happens.
Oh, I don't really play this game enough to see that, so that's useful information.
What do you think about
Welcome back to
Sherman's
Red Dead
march
Online.
into Georgia? Are you talking about the American Civil War? Is that the Union general that burned Savannah? Was that the one that you're talking about?
Who is it? I'll look him up too.
Public execution. Hold up.
Okay, yeah. So I forgot the guy's name, but yeah. So you're saying he was Sherman, right? Because I remember that happened in history. I just forgot the general's name that did it. But
what's the event? I'll look it up on Google.
well, you don't. I can tell you basically what happened. There was the city of Savannah that's in Georgia. During the American Civil War, there was a Union general. Edgy's telling me his name was Sherman. I just forgot his name. But basically, what Sherman did is once he had taken Savannah, he actually burned it to the ground. So he burned the entire city to the ground, and he burned a lot of towns in the South. And the thing about that is that was just stupid of him to do that. And it's stupid for two reasons. The first reason is because it's American infrastructure, because you're gonna need that infrastructure after the Civil War, and you're just destroying it. That's just dumb. And the second reason is because the Confederates are just gonna use that as propaganda. Like literally, if somebody like Sherman burns down a city, they're 100% going to use that as propaganda. So the Confederacy was wrong in that war, but it was that Sherman was wrong for burning down Savannah. But the Confederates would use that as propaganda 100%. So literally Sherman did more to damage the Union cause in that in the Civil War. So yeah, that was an idiotic thing to do.
Yeah, it was Sherman. So it says December 9th, 1864, in the marches of Savannah, hundreds or thousands of African American families who had just escaped from slavery were left to drown by Sherman's army. This refers to the massacre. I can't pronounce this.
Wait, what did you say that again? What did he do?
On December 9th, 1864, on the marches to Savannah, hundreds or thousands of African American families were just escaped slavery were left to drown by Sherman's army.
My God, yeah. So this Sherman guy is like one of the worst Union generals of the war. Then, that's like
It's been noted as the massacre at Ebenezer Creek. I can't pronounce this, so I'm just gonna spell it. But yeah, Sherman left those people to die.
yeah.
to
So
drown.
Sherman is much worse than I thought. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. But you know, when you have an idiot like Sherman, like, you know, the Confederates are just gonna use that as propaganda against the Union. That's, you know, guaranteed. So Sherman did more to damage the Union cause than us.
He's a punk.
Should I deliver the guy as soon as I get there, or wait a few minutes?
No, just drop them off.
Get him there. Okay.
Well, I don't know the whole history, Mike. I'm just answering what somebody had told me in the chat about him. But you know,
$20.
people ask me a lot of history a lot of times, so that's just it. But you know, there is no reason to burn Savannah to the ground. Like I said, it's American infrastructure, and it's, you know, it's gonna hurt America after the Civil War ends, and the Confederates are just gonna use that as propaganda. So if anything, Sherman might have prolonged the war by doing that. I will play Medal of Honor Pacific Assault in the future, yes. Before someone buys a firearm, do you think they should be required to take the appropriate class to understand how to manage and use the weapon? I'm not gonna get into stuff like that. That's more of the political divide on that issue, and it's just it's going to get there's people that have a lot of different views on that. But what I will say about that is that there are a lot of family members that teach their family members how to handle firearms. So people think that people need a class all the times, but there's plenty of family members that know firearms well and will teach other family members. So that's what I'll say about that. But I'm not going to really get into that, though.
Ooh.
I will comment, though, that it is a right, not a privilege, and that has certain complications if you're going to involve that.
Just like driving.
If Simo,
driving's a privilege, not a right.
Privilege, not that's what it was.
If Simo Haika and Carl Fairburn does a sniper competition, who will win? It would probably depend on the environment, but Carl, I think, would probably win, because Carl would probably have some scope that has limited glint, because Simo never used a scope. He didn't, but there'd be a distance that he can't see at. I'm wrong about what, Anthony? GTA Plus is not a scam? Oh, what do you think about GTA Plus? Oh no, the Confederacy was wrong in the Civil War. They were 100% wrong. The Union was right in that war. But what I was getting at earlier is I was just saying that it was stupid for Sherman to burn down Savannah, a city, because it's American infrastructure in the end. And it's just when he burns down a city, the Confederates could just easily use that as propaganda against the Union. So that's so what I was saying is that it was stupid of Sherman to do that. Yeah, why does a 9-year-old game need a subscription service?
Won't be long until another game decides to do a subscription service like Call of Duty.
The most idiotic things Dominic and the Godfather did, the most idiotic thing he did is when he declared war on the Manganos.
Oh, I just murdered a bunch of people. I didn't know if I was supposed to or not.
Makes the ride a little smoother.
Oh.
A money guide
Or
for
they can
GTA Online
respawn.
being sold on Amazon? What?
Yeah, or they can respawn.
You don't need a money. You don't need to buy a money guide on Amazon. You can just watch one of my videos, or even watch another YouTuber's videos on money guides. There's Why would somebody buy a book on Amazon for a money guide on GTA? That sounds stupid.
Wait, they have books from money guides? Who
I
writes
remember there was a
for
book
money
listed, I don't remember when this was probably years ago, but it is like a joke. The book's like how to make like $10,000 or something like that, and the book costs $10,000, it's blank.
That's a scam.
Yes.
Well, that's how that person makes 10 grand.
Exactly. It's just a scam and a joke. It's kind of funny.
Who writes a book for a money guide for a video game?
Just selling them out.
Damn, I missed all these shots.
And see you get on.
Yeah, I'm kind of sneaky like that.
Okay, delivered this here.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Pro.
Yes?
So I've been seeing stuff around the internet. Apparently, they're not going to make a PS5 Pro or Slim. They're just going to go right to a PS6.
The thing about these rumors is these rumors are stupid a lot of times. Is people just I don't know, like, these rumors appear and then people believe them. I don't get that. Like, why? It's stupid.
Why does it keep giving me this damn rifle?
I mean, the Pro was kind of a unique model that no other generation had that, but still, I don't know.
I'm gonna go into game chat and play some poker here, guys. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, here we go. But last thing, we got 500 viewers right now. Thank you everybody for stopping by. But last thing that I'll say about the Civil War, because people were asking me historical questions about it earlier, is that there are things in history that, like, people will manipulate, try to manipulate specific events to try to make their side look less bad. People do this all the time, and so it's just, yeah, there's, in regards to Civil War, for example, you'll have like a bunch of stupid people that will say that the Civil War was like fought over states' rights, which that's not true. The main reason was slavery, and the Confederacy's own founding documents even state that it's over slavery. But yet you'll have like groups of people that will claim that it was over states' rights when that's just not true. Have you heard that Modern Warfare 2 will get an update for more content? Yes, I think later in February, right? Let's see what cards we get here.
Came into a bunch of money last month.
2 sevens there.
And finally I woke up penniless. That's how it goes.
Blackjack or poker? When I'm playing against players that know what they're doing, I'd rather play poker.
They hung that fella who stole a bag of flour from the general store. Guess that's one way to cure a man of hunger.
What's this place
Folding. There's nothing good here in these cards. Southern high schools teach it as the war of northern aggression. Okay, well, the thing about, I know that term that you're saying, you could actually argue the other way. You could argue that the war was actually a war of southern aggression. Because basically what happened was the second that Lincoln was elected, all the southern states just seceded. And they had seceded because Lincoln was against slavery. And so all the southern states just seceded the second that he had gotten made president. But basically what happened was you had Fort Sumter, and Fort Sumter was a Union fort. The Confederacy had actually attacked Fort Sumter, so both sides weren't shooting at each other, and then the Confederacy just went and attacked Fort Sumter. So if somebody's gonna make the argument that it was a war of northern aggression, you could flip that entire argument and say that it was a war of southern aggression. But it's what this basically comes down to ultimately in history is that you have like and this happens all over the world when it comes to history, is you will have people who will try to downplay the bad things that their country did in history. And so, in my country, for example, it's, people that will say that it was over states' rights. That's what the Civil War was over, when that wasn't true. I believe in states' rights. Most Americans believe in states' rights. But states' rights over what exactly in the Civil War? What states' rights specifically were they fighting over? What was it? It was because they wanted to keep slaves. That was the main reason. It wasn't over states' rights. It was because they wanted to keep slaves. So that was literally what the Civil War is over. That was the whole main reason why they had seceded. That was the whole main reason that the conflict had happened. But people will try to downplay it, and they'll try to claim other reasons. It's ultimately people don't want to feel shame from where they come from. They want to feel shame from where they come from, and so these stories start to come up. People start to say, "Oh, it wasn't over that. It was this. It didn't happen like this." And the thing about that is that there's a lot of people that actually believe stuff like that. They think that it's actually true when it's not. Let's see, 3, 4.
So they made him food for the buzzards.
Wow.
What's this place coming to?
Okay.
They say gangs been out robbing again.
Sounds like I heard what you heard.
Well then.
I usually end the stream after poker. What's your question, Tarian? I'm sorry if I didn't read your comment right away, man. It's just a lot of people that are posting.
I swear, they don't even do nothing.
That's something, sure is.
Got hired for some work and they laid us off after just 2 days. Only paid us for one.
Ah, damn, he had one pair. Other than the 4. Made a super chat. Oh, Rick and Morty got it wrong. They said Hitler was Catholic. Well, thank you for the super chat. I don't know if they were joking about that, but I brought this up before in other videos, and I'm gonna make a lore video on the Kill Hitler mission in Sniper Elite 5 one day, because that was like based on a real life operation. It was actually a sniper was actually supposed to kill Hitler in the exact same place where you kill him in the game. But there is no evidence whatsoever, none, that Hitler was a Catholic. Maybe he was brought into the religion when he was a child, because his father was an atheist, his mother was a Catholic, but Hitler had never been a member of any church. There's no record of him ever being a member of any church. There's no proof he went to mass whatsoever when he had actually left for home after World War I. And when he actually did become dictator of Germany, there was times when he would go into churches, but those mostly were for funerals or for specific events. He wouldn't just go into a church and just sit down during mass. And if he did do it, he did it just for public reasons, because Germany was a very religious country. That was, what it was. He was manipulating. And we know that Hitler wasn't a Catholic. We know this 100% because if you read the Hitler papers, which those are like a bunch of papers where his I think they're the Hitler table talks. I think that's what they're called. Basically what they were is they were recorded by his private secretary, Martin Bormann. And so Martin Bormann had Hitler's permission to record everything that he had said in privately. And so Bormann kept like a whole, record of everything that Hitler had said privately. And this was conversations that he had during dinners. So there was like dinners where he would have like other Nazi officials where he would talk politics and religion. And in those discussions, it's very different than what he said publicly. In public, Hitler claimed that he was a German Christian. That's what he would refer to. He didn't refer to himself as a Christian. He referred to himself as a German Christian. In private, though, when private, we know Hitler despised Christianity. And in private, actually, Hitler actually stated in private that he thought that Christianity was one of the worst things that actually happened to Europe. That's what he said in private. He actually said he admired Shintoism, the Japanese religion, much more than Christianity. And he said what he admired about Shintoism in Japan was he admired how the Japanese were willing to die for the emperor. They were willing to, and he wanted Germans to have that same enthusiasm for him. This is all written in the Hitler table talks. This is what Hitler's thoughts on religion was. And the most insane thing that Hitler had actually said about Christianity is Hitler believed that Christianity was created by Jews to oppress Germans. That's literally what he thought. So it shows you just what kind of mindset he had, just, this evil psycho dictator. But there's, like I said earlier, guys, there's no proof that Hitler was a Catholic or a Christian. But yet you'll have people who will make that ridiculous, claim constantly. They'll say, oh, he was a Christian. No, I'm telling you from a historical perspective. From a historical perspective. And I'm not a Christian, guys, by the way, for people wondering. I'm an agnostic. So I'm not like some guy that has like some bias or anything like that. But I'm telling you, from a historical perspective, there is no evidence that Hitler was a Christian. But yet people keep throwing that around and saying that he was a Christian or anything like that. There's no proof of that whatsoever. But Hitler wasn't an atheist either. So he hated atheists. So we know he was religious on something, but it definitely wasn't Christianity. Because the things he said about Christianity privately. But that's the thing about it, is that people are just so obsessed with like trying to figure out what Hitler's religion is. And the thing about it is that why is it so important what his religion is? It's like people are constantly obsessing over his religion. It's like the guy was an evil psycho. That's the point. So it was just, but the thing about it is that the reason that people are so obsessed with his religion, the reason people are so obsessed with that is because what people are trying to do is they're trying to label another religion associated with him. So basically what people will do is they will try to label a religion that they don't like and associate that with Hitler. So for example, you will have atheists who will try to claim that Hitler was a Christian to try to make Christians look bad. And you'll have Christians who will do the exact same thing. And they will try to claim that Hitler is an atheist to try to make atheists look bad. So you'll have both sides that will do the exact same thing. The ironic thing about this is that Hitler hated both atheists and Christians. But yet you have people who say that he's a atheist or a Christian when he actually wasn't neither, and he hated both of them. I recently came up with a new original character for my series, Francesca. She'll be the Mafia boss's daughter and Ian's girlfriend in Overdrive. Oh, and how long is this novel going to be when you finish it, DL Gaming? Thank you for the super chat. No, he's, I should maybe have a second monitor. Yeah, that I would agree with you. I would agree with you that Hitler probably did think he was some kind of god, because when he survived the Valkyrie plot, he was basically convinced that nobody could kill him, that he could never make a mistake. He was convinced that he was some kind of god. Let's make a bet here. Pro, he did believe in the German folk religion. You're talking about the pagan religions in Germany. The SS did that a lot. 2 pair queens. Oh, he's gonna win this, yeah. But yeah, that's so Hitler was acting like a cult leader? Yeah, pretty much. And that's the thing is and And I tell you, I've argued with so many people on this. Like, just as somebody who takes an interest in history and reads history a lot, it just personally irritates me so much when people will just try to claim Hitler's a Christian or an atheist when he's not. He wasn't either. He hated actually both of them. The League of German Thinkers, by the way, they were the largest atheist group in Germany with 500,000 members, and Hitler had actually banned them when he came to power, and then he actually claimed that he stamped out atheism. So he wasn't really a Christian or an atheist, and he actually hated both atheists and Christians. But the stupid thing about it is that you'll have people who will accuse both sides of being both sides will accuse Hitler of being the other religion. I'm always amazed at pros multitasking. Well, thank you, man. Yes, that is true, but it wasn't just the German pilots that took meth. The German soldiers did take meth as well. Pro, can you make an update video related with the naturalist rules? Not sure if your older guy is still relevant with the current year. Peace. Thank you, Kanzai12. I could try to do something like that. Thank you for the super chat. Should I super chat you finally? Well, Mole, what I'll say about this is that don't feel like you have an obligation to give me a super chat. And I always appreciate any super chat, any donation that people give me, I always appreciate. But what I will say is that don't ever feel like you need to give me a donation. And this goes to everybody watching. Don't ever feel like you need to give me a donation, guys. Don't feel like you need to. If you give me a donation, though, I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate the support. But don't feel like you need to give me a donation for me to read your comment, because I read a lot of comments. I'll just read the donation comments because they bright, and I want to thank people who make a donation. But I try to read as many comments as I can also. I have never once asked for a donation in my entire, like, career on YouTube. Not once have I ever asked for a donation. Oh, I'm gonna lose this 3-3. I'm getting some terrible cards. I want to win a hand here, but I strongly believe that you should only give a YouTuber a donation only if you think that YouTuber truly deserves it. If you think that the YouTuber truly deserves it, then go for it. But if other than that, I don't think that if you're watching like a YouTuber and that YouTuber is making you feel guilty for not giving them donations, stop watching them. Stop watching them. If you ever watch a YouTuber that tells you, like, give me donations, don't watch that YouTuber. Like, immediately just shut off, unsubscribe, because that person's a scumbag. Because I'll tell you though, like, one thing that I personally cannot stand, one thing that I can't stand is I can't stand entitlement. I can't stand when people think that they're entitled, when they think that they're better than others. And when I see these stupid YouTubers and they say, oh, my subscribers have to give me donations because they get free content. It's like, no, that argument is so stupid. And the thing about that is that nobody watches free content on YouTube. Even if you watch a YouTuber for years, if you watch a YouTuber for a long time, right? Even if you never donate to that YouTuber, you are still helping that YouTuber make money. How? You're not watching for free because you're watching ads. When you watch ads, you watch commercials on that YouTuber's, content. That YouTuber is getting money from it. And also, when you watch and you drop a like, it helps the algorithm, which spreads the video around. So even people who are not donating also help the channel make a ton of money. So when I see these stupid YouTubers, they claim that, subscribers have to give them money because they're saying that the subscribers get free content. No, they don't. They watch ads. The ads aren't free. So, you're not paying for the ads, sure, but you're watching it. And the YouTuber's making money from that. So that's just, that's what I'll say about that. Is I can't stand these entitled YouTubers. The only time I've ever asked for a donation, guys, is when I do charity streams. That's because it's going to charity. But I never asked for a donation, ever when I, played on, streams. And thank you, Donald Aversano, for the super chat. Rest in peace, GTA. Said I wanted to play. Are you talking about the mod that's going on right now? Thank you, Donald.
Things ain't so good. Had regular work till the rancher wanted something else picked. I was a Christian.
Yeah, I'm doing terrible. I usually do much better in poker, but I'm just doing terrible today. I'm doing really bad. I'm getting some terrible cards. You deserve all the support. Love your content. Thank you, British Joe.
Morning, dude.
Well, I'll stream Battlefield 1 again in the future. Fell for what, Drifter? Oh, 8 high straight. Oh my god, I would have won that other. Battlefield 2042, I do. Have you ever watched YouTube racism or favoritism? No, I haven't. Is that a video? What is the reason Battlefield 2042 was so hated? The setting, no campaign, the glitches, the class system, also the lack of support. I got the same cards again. Wonderful. Cards were just terrible. This is my worst poker match in like a long time, months. Not even one matching card. Not even the same. Not even the same type of card like the hearts. No, I don't play poker in real life. What do you think of the Ottoman Empire? Yeah, the Ottoman Empire was... There was times when the Ottoman Empire wasn't as bad. Like during, was he Suleiman the Great, I think that's what he was, called. The Ottoman Empire wasn't that bad under his rule, but then there was other leaders. And I'm trying to remember the Ottoman leader during World War I. But the Young Turks, they were the political party that ran the Ottoman Empire leading up to World War I. They were responsible for the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. The Young Turks were pretty much a fascist group. They believed that Turks were better than all the other groups in the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire had Greeks, Arabs, you had Armenians in the empire. You had Bosnians also, but they lost the Bosnians before World War I. But yeah, so the Young Turks treated all those other groups badly, and they favored Turks. And that's what actually led to the Arab uprisings in like Syria and Iraq during World War I, because of that. The Young Turks were also the people who actually caused the Armenian genocide. So there was like a political party that was in the Ottoman Empire. I'm gonna still lose this. Yep. Is there anything you regret doing? Is there anything you wish you had done differently? Yes. Specifically, thank you Z4 for the super chat. Specifically regarding my YouTube channel, what I wish I had done is I wish that I had I wish that I had done other content on the side earlier, like years ago. Not just like just GT Online, because I used to do just mainly GT Online, and I think that was a problem. I think that was like an issue, because then it became like really hard to to grow into other content at that point eventually. But now I'm, in a much better spot beforehand. One other thing that I probably oh yeah, and probably the biggest regret in my life that I have, is, this is, outside of YouTube, that I wish I had done differently, is I wish I hadn't stayed in retail for 6 years, because I worked in retail for 6 years. I should have quit. I should have quit before that. One of the reasons I stayed in retail for so long is because I was scared that I wouldn't be able to learn how to do anything, and that I'd have managers that would just scream at me, because that's the type of environment that I had in retail, and I just felt like I was going to be stuck there at that job for, so long. I thought I was eventually going to get a raise, and it was going to get better, but the raises were just garbage. I never really got a good raise. So, yeah, I regret probably staying in retail for 6 years. Hey, Pro, hope your night is well. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Ari. Thank you for the super chat. We'll do one more hand after this here. Road to Respect, we'll do that in, like, February, probably. Did you have a criminal justice degree while you worked in retail? Well, I got my degree in May of 2019, and then I quit, like, 6 months later, so I did have it, too. Yeah, I think every person in life probably has some regrets, some things they did. You're yawning a lot, professional. Yeah, I'm a little tired. I'm just sorry, I've just been working a lot on, especially my lore projects. This will be my last hand. When's the Modern Warfare stream? I'll probably do one in February. Are you winning, Pro? No, I was doing horrible before. I lost $25 earlier. I work in retail. One day I love it, and the next day I hate it. Yeah. Having nice coworkers can, help you. Can help make a difference. But even if you have nice coworkers, you're eventually going to encounter, like, a stupid customer. Yeah, Zombie, it is a bit comparable. I have like 300,000 in Red Dead. Try it with this. We'll see what we got. Yeah, I have Max Capitale. I just don't bother with it anymore. If I get an ace, I think I'll win this. I'm not gonna win this. Yep. Okay, let's exit here. No, I'd never played Age of Empires. Yeah, the Edge is fine. I haven't had much problems with it on... It sucks to cancel this game. It was one big update, like a bank robbery away from being a huge online game. I think it required some work still, but it had potential. It was there. What would you have done if you quit retail earlier? Focus on YouTube? Yeah, would have focused much more on that.
Well now, it's been a spell since I saw you last. Look around. Take your time.
What do you think about the Belgians in the Congo? Well, thank you, Edgy, for the super chat. You're talking about King Leopold, right, of Belgium? King Leopold was a ruthless, you know, very evil man. Like, you know, his occupation of the Congo, he had killed so many people, hundreds of thousands of people died. In the conditions the Belgians had, they treated the Congo people really horribly. But yeah, Leopold is one of the most evil kings in history. But I guess I'll be wrapping up the stream here, guys. I'll probably answer a few questions before I go. Yes, they were a zombie.
Always nice to see a paying customer.
Next lore videos tomorrow, yes. You think Indiana Jones is a realistic archaeologist? No. I've been watching for a while, but I got work in the morning. Have a good night. Okay, I'll see you, Ari. Thanks, Pearl, for everything. Take it easy. Eat good. Thank you, Bunny. I don't want to get into that right now, Super Mario. What do you think about ChatGPT? It's an AI that uses machine learning, is able to do tasks like writing essays for school minutes. I think AI could be dangerous. Yeah, especially if AI developed their own minds, they could be dangerous. But writing essays for you, man. And what, schools can't use programs to detect that, though? Thank you, Antonio, for the super chat. Good night, Pro. Get your sleep. It's important. Yeah, I'm gonna probably lie down for a few hours after this, and then probably eat something because I'm a bit exhausted. And then the lore video is gonna be coming out tomorrow.
All sorts of folks stopping.
Do you think the remake of The Godfather work would work, or are the 2 game versions enough? Well, do a remake, but then maybe make a part 3. I'd like to see a part 3 one day. If they did a part 3, Dominic would probably die in a helicopter attack. That's probably when he would die. But I'd like to see a part 3 Godfather game. And they're yawning just like me. I work in a call center after hours, and we had a Karen call for help of applying for a job. And we told her that we don't work on the system, and she tried pulling one. I want to speak to your manager. Yeah. Karens will ruin any kind of customer relations. Claude probably kept working his way up. He didn't do it primarily for money, but because he just liked working for different gangs. I guess he just liked that criminal lifestyle. I'm loving the War 2003 game, Pro, that you're playing. What is it called? Medal of Honor Rising Sun. Would you prefer Vito Corleone or Michael? Vito. Vito is just much more of a compassionate person. He's not a good person, but Michael was much more ruthless and just cold than Vito was. And if Vito didn't have to kill, he would avoid it. Michael would just kill constantly. What lore is tomorrow? The Brad, Trevor, and Michael lore video. Why didn't they make another big update for Red Dead? Because they decided to abandon the game. It's unfortunate, though. But I guess I'll be going here, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out with me. I do really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I'll have the lore video up for you guys tomorrow. So thank you guys for stopping by. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, guys.